Hello everybody, Carole Garrison with Carole's Creative Escape. Thank you so much for joining me tonight as I fess with my hair here. All right, just leave it, Carole. Anyhow, thank you so much for joining me tonight. Like I said, my name is Carole Garrison with Carole's Creative Escape, and I have been a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for a little over 10 years, but have been making cards for many, many more years than that, and my goal is to simply share joy one card at a time. Hi Beth, thanks for joining me tonight. I owe an apology for last week's live, which did not happen. I was actually up north camping and I intended to have something pop up saying no live tonight, and that did not happen while I was gone. So I do apologize for that, but I am back tonight and I'm promising to be back to a more steady, reliable Monday Night Live routine now that my vacation is done and I also am done with the home repairs. So anyhow, I am very happy to be here with you tonight. I hope you all had a good week last week. Like I said, I was camping with family members up at a new state park in northern Minnesota, and it was a new area for us. We had a great time. We had a lot of rain. One day got completely rained out on us, but we made do with a really nice trail center that they had available. Got to see a lot of wildlife, including my first close-up with a black bear as it was crossing the road in front of us. And it was a big bear, but he just kind of turned around, looked at us, and marched on his way. And then I also saw my first wolf spider, which was discovered under the rain flap of our tent as we were cleaning up. No idea how long he was there. I'm going to pretend that he had not been there the whole week, because it was like this big. It was a big spider. It was actually eating a moth when we uncovered it. So we let him finish eating the moth and rehomed him after he was done with the meal that he had fixed for himself. So anyhow, that was kind of exciting, although I will admit I was very careful as I was unpacking everything when we got home to make sure that none of those came in my house after we got back. Other than that, not a whole lot to report. Tonight is July 3rd. So hopefully you've got some fun plans for tomorrow and can see some fireworks and things like that. Mother Nature may gift us with some down here tonight or tomorrow morning, which wouldn't be bad because we really do need the rain. But tonight I am very excited to share with you a stamp set called Layering Leaves. Now, one of the things that's exciting about this stamp set is I actually know the person that designed this set. One of the things that Stampin' Up! Will do when you hit your $1 million mark in sales is they invite you to their home offices in Utah, and you get to work with some designers and create a stamp set. I don't know what all the guidelines are and things like that for creating it, but this stamp set that we're using tonight is in honor of Rachel Tessman's $1 million sale level that she hit. And Rachel's one of my sister demonstrators. We have the same we signed up under the same person, and so I have gotten to work with Rachel and know her personally, and I'm very excited to be able to share her stamp set with her tonight, with you guys tonight. And it's kind of fun knowing a little bit more about the story behind the stamp set and what went into creating it and stuff. So I'm excited to share that tonight. So let me grab my camera. I'm going to go ahead and flip everything around. You're going to see my ceiling here for a second, and I'll get you plugged into my stand. And like I said, I am gonna add my cord, so just a little bit more jiggling. I never want to run out of power while I am filming one of these, so let me set my fancy camera stand off to the side and get logged in here on my iPad so that I can kind of see what's happening here tonight. Great, I am live. That's always exciting to know that I'm in the right place. Okay, so my phone is a little crooked though. We'll see if we can't straighten it out just a titch. That was the wrong way, wasn't it? I don't know why this is so hard for me to get straight. You'd think I'd done this enough now that I would know how to get my things lined up straight. So anyhow, like I said, the stamp set that I'm going to share with you tonight is called Layering Leaves, and this was designed by Rachel Tessman. It is a 2-step stamp set, meaning you can stamp into the leaves. Now, I actually used each of these 2 leaves and filled in with this particular leaf here and used this just as a solid, but it could go in on this one if you wanted. I had no interest in trying to line up the stems or anything tonight. And I'm very happy with my decision. So like I said, I just put this here and here. If you really felt courageous, you could try doing it on those 2 tonight. I just didn't have it in me. The other thing that she's got is just some beautiful basic sentiments in a very nice font. I love the Sending Hugs. I think it's been a while since we've had something like that. And this one here too, So Happy to Celebrate You. I think those are just kind of fun ones to have. Tonight I did use the Sending Hugs and the Hello stamp. But the other exciting part about this stamp is, if you know Rachel, you know that one of her favorite punches is the Leaves and Boughs punch. Bows punch. And so one of her goals when she designed her set is she wanted it to coordinate with this punch. And so this image, and this image all fit that. And then these little flowers will fit that image. So it's a very versatile set. So I used my punch, I used my Layering Leaves, and then tonight I also brought in the Something Fancy dies so that I could cut my sentiment out with that. So those are kind of the tools that I used for tonight's card. And then the other thing I'm doing is featuring a new designer paper from the annual catalog. And I'm going to just show you the colors that it coordinates with first, and then I will show you the paper. So it goes with Calypso Coral, Lost Lagoon, which is a returning color, and this is one of my favorite colors, so I'm happy to be able to start using that again. Pool Party. This one is Petal Pink, Crushed Curry, and then the Designer Series paper works very nicely with Very Vanilla cardstock. So those are the basic colors in this paper. And I will now share with you what the paper looks like. I think you're going to find that it's really pretty, and it's certainly a fun one to work with. So the paper is called Inked Botanicals, and there is a coordinating stamp set that goes with this. So this is just one side, and you can see all of those colors that I just ran through are included in this paper. There's a Calypso Coral with just a bunch of leaves. I can see a real nice fall card with that. And then here's another one with kind of a daisy type shape. Again, all of the colors are included on this. And then here's another floral image with the Crushed Curry and the Calypso Coral. And then we've got this Lost Lagoon piece with just like a design splattered on it. We've got some more of the flowers in the Lost Lagoon and Pool Party. And then we've got some leaves and kind of a distressed look because there are streaks of white in this paper as well. I don't know if you can see it real well, but a little bit. It starts to show up. Hi, Julie. Hi, Paulette. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. All right, and then we've got this Calypso Coral, and there's Petal Pink in this one as well. And then we've got kind of fern leaves, sort of, in this one, again featuring Lost Lagoon and Pool Party, and this little design. And then we see those flowers again in the Crushed Curry. And then just to flip over real quick to show you the back sides of the paper. A little bit of Lost Lagoon on that. I think these dots are a lot of fun. Crushed Curry. Here's a little Crushed Curry design. Your Calypso Coral and Petal Pink. A lot of Crushed Curry on the back side of this. I think this is kind of a fun one too. Again, I can kind of see a fall color card with this, but I have to see what I come up with. And here's kind of that all over design again with the Calypso Coral. And then little flowers with all of the coordinating colors included. And then just another Calypso Coral piece. So fun paper. If you don't have it yet, you may want to consider getting that. It's Inked Botanicals, and it is a 6x6 paper. So you get 48 sheets included in that stack of paper. So the card I want to show you tonight is this one. Again, here's where I use my Sending Hugs sentiment. And I've got the little flower images. You can see the different leaves. I use some embossing to pop things up just a little bit. And it's all done on very vanilla cardstock. So let me start by giving you the sentiments. I'm going to use a slightly different piece of designer paper. But first I've got my 5.5 by 8.5 piece of cardstock that I've scored at 4 1/4. So 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches, scored at 4 1/4 inches. And then I took another piece of cardstock, the very vanilla. This is 4 by 5 1/4. And for this one, I ran it through the, I'll make sure I give you the right name on the embossing folder, which I had everything marked. This is the Time Worn Type 3D embossing folder. And then I have a piece of Calypso Coral that measures 5/8 of an inch by 5 1/4 inches. And I ran that one through the Painted Texture 3D embossing folder. And then I have a piece of the Designer Series paper that we just talked about. This piece measures 5 1/4 by 2 1/4. And then I just used some of my very vanilla cardstock scraps to create the leaves. I stamped this one in Lost Lagoon, and I did 2nd generation stamping on the fill-in piece. This is Crushed Curry, again with 2nd generation stamping for the inside. Calypso Coral, and then this is Pool Party with 2nd generation stamping on the inside. I sometimes struggle getting things lined up when I'm doing the 2-step stamping, and I have to tell you that this lined up so nicely. It was so easy to not only get that 2nd generation stamped inside of the leaves, but then also to line it up in the punch. So that's always a relief for me. And then I just cut out 3 of these flowers, kind of in a random cutout. So let's go ahead and start with the assembly. Of course, you're going to fold it over along the score line, and I will burnish it with my bone folder. And then, like I said, I've already run this piece through the embossing folder, but it's the Time Worn Type. And to make this card, I'm going to adhere this piece of Designer Series paper to the base of my cardstock. I'm not one that likes to have just smooth cardstock on the fronts of my cards, so you're oftentimes going to see me doing a little bit of the 3D embossing folders just to add a little pep to it. And I kind of put this strip of adhesive down just a little bit so I could fit these leaves through here as I was working on it. And so let's go ahead and I did use my silicone mat on this. You could use adhesive, you can use glue, you can, adhesive of your choice with this. I am actually just using my seal, and that's why I've got my silicone mat here, because I am going to run this over that stem just to make sure that it's good and sticky. And I will just slide that in then underneath my Designer Series paper, because I don't want the stem to show. I just want the leaf to show. And then we'll go with Calypso Coral. And kind of repeating that same process, I'm going to stack these 2 up together with that stem tucked behind my Designer Series paper. And then I am going to put my other 2 down on this part. And I'm just kind of randomly placing them. I'm not being real picky about having it even or a mirror image or anything like that. And so we'll put those two pieces there. And then I've got my strip of Calypso Coral, and this is the one that I ran through the embossing folder as well. So it's just got a little bit of texture. And I'm just gonna put that so that it covers up my stems and the seam of my Designer Series paper, but I don't really want it to cover up a whole lot of the leaves. So I'm just gonna make sure I've got the seam covered and that I've got my stems covered. Looks like I've got a little bit of one peeking out there, but that's okay. And then one thing I am gonna do is just come back with my seal and get a little bit of adhesive behind that top leaf, and I'm doing that just so hopefully it won't get caught when we're putting it into an envelope. Okay, so that covers the primary portion of the base of my card. And so what I'm going to do now is I've actually popped this layer up on dimensionals, and I'm using up a pack of dimensionals. I use them right up to the end, so I may have odd shapes in the corners, but I'm not one that likes to waste any pieces. Make sure I'm getting the most value for my money. And so I've got those on there, and that sheet is empty, so let me get over to this one. And because I am using this as a base layer, I am putting a few more dimensionals than what I would normally use, but I want to make sure that it sticks. So we'll peel the back off of these. And then I'm just going to center this on the front of my card base. And what I like to do is kind of look at opposite corners and make sure they're even. So if these two corners are even, it's a pretty safe bet these two corners and the rest of the card will be even as well. So I've got that piece popped up on there. And then I'm using the Hello sentiment. And I've got that popped up on dimensionals as well. And I'm just going to kind of put this in the middle of my card so the leaves are decorating it. And then we'll grab our silicone mat one more time, because I've got these three little, and these are just very vanilla. I have not done anything, any stamping or anything on these pieces. So I make sure I get them all going the same direction here. And again, I'm just going to take a little bit of seal and put it on the stems and just tuck them in so that they add just a little bit of detail to the card. And we'll leave it at that. And then I am taking some of the red and green adhesive back pearls, and these have this pretty gold pearl in there. Kind of remind me of the first pair of earrings I had when I got my ears pierced way back when. And so I'm just going to put some of these on this card, and I'm using the putty portion of my Take Your Pick tool just to, that's my dog growling in the background, you can disregard that, just to help me pick up those gold pearls, and that finishes our card. So it's a very simple card to make with the punch. The two-step stamping process was quite easy as well, and we are ready to go with that. But I do want to do one more thing with you, and that's to show you how to dress up the envelope. Loki, no. He has his toy ball down here so that I throw it for him, and he knows if he starts to bark, he's going to get it thrown. And I managed to make a basket, which he won't get out. All right, there. Sorry about that. It hit the clothes basket and he can't figure out how to get it out of the clothes basket ever. Okay, so now I'm just going to show you real quick how to dress up your envelope. This is another piece of that Designer Series paper. When I'm doing this, I do like to use my adhesive, and I will just run it. I don't get too close to the edge because I know it'll splurt out a little bit. And all I do is I've got this is a 2 3/4 piece of that paper. Yep, 2 3/4, and this is just a 6-inch strip, and I am just going to adhere it to that flap with a little bit overhanging on each side, and I'll just press it down so it's adhered, and then all I need to do is come back with my paper snips and just follow along the edge of my envelope flap. And now I've got a real fancy envelope to go with my card. So I thought that flap would look nice with this card because it kind of picks up that accent. And there you go, you've got it dressed up. So that is my card for tonight. Again, it is using the, I want to make sure I'm giving you the right name because sometimes I get myself confused on the names. It's using the Inked Botanicals Designer Series paper, very vanilla cardstock, and some pretty basic 2-step stamping. So I hope this has inspired you to make a card and send it off to somebody that you know that may need a little day brightener in their mailbox. If you do make this card, I'd love it if you could post it in the comments so that others can see. I think we can inspire each other with our creativity and designs. And thank you so much for taking the time to watch me tonight, and we will see you next week for the next Make It Monday. Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.